So
well, no one wants every deliverable that they're working on to be tracked. Like people, and I think the engineering mindset. I mean, we're all engineers, so I think you want to have some room for your own creativity. Yeah, our thought process doesn't always follow a straight line. You can't always, what does 90% done look like when you're trying to solve a problem? It's hard to have this level of supervision, and so transparency I think is a huge issue, and I do want to spend a moment on this because I think culturally there are different cultures appreciate different management styles, top-down management versus self-managed work. And the level of planning and transparency that Wrench provides and allows for scares a lot of people. I mean, I think most consulting companies do not want to expose the progress on a daily basis to their partners and their clients, because it's a little embarrassing sometimes. Our design work is messy, so who wants to have the client watching you every hour of every day, or your partners watching every hour of every day as you struggle to develop these deliverables and complete a design? It's very uncomfortable. Yet I think it's what owners want.
Exactly.
So maybe Romolo, comment on that.
Yeah, sorry, but the point is, once you make that transition, and as a consultant, as an engineering company, you understand the importance of having that transparent relationship with the client, you gain their confidence. And gaining the confidence of the client means repeated work and continuous work.
But it's terrifying, because I mean, if it's an EPC project and you're the engineer and the constructor is on you every hour of every day looking for a schedule slip so they can claim an extra.
True, but if you are open to it and you say, look, hey, yes, I'm late here because of this reason, and you can prove it that's the reason, but I'm going to finish Monday, and Monday you're finished.
Yeah.
My experience is, hey, they will help you. They will work with you. If you hide it and you try to blame them, if it becomes a finger pointing game, then that's when you have the issues. I found actually that making that transition makes the team work better together. As I said, a lot of my experience has been in just being the engineering consultant. So the weaker point, like you were correctly saying, the guy that the construction company looks at to blame for.
Where's my drawings? Where are my drawings?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gave me the wrong coordinate of the foundation. I have to redo it. That kind of stuff. So, but it's. I think Branch helps in eliminating that, as long as it is followed and is open to everybody. I'm not saying you open the kitchen to see how you're making the sausages, but you show enough for them to understand that you have a method, you have a system, and you are on top of things. And mistakes happen. Everybody understands mistakes happen. Things happen. People get sick. Other issues happen. But
if I'm the owner and I'm paying the bills, I want to see everything, man. I want to see every deliverable. I want to know that you guys are on top of it, right?
Yeah. And Branch allows you to do exactly that with a minimum effort, without having people hovering behind the shoulders of your engineers. That's really uncomfortable.
Also, one of the things which I wanted to highlight is one of the challenges, when Romolo was implementing the system, was related to progress. Maybe I think Romolo can explain that, because he had huge issues, and that was one which pressed him to really put the system in place.
But we work in this business, we all got to 90% of the project in time, and then it took another 4 years. The last 10%, because the 90% was fictitious, was just because that's what the schedule said, that's what your lead said.
Yeah, please, thank you.
It allows you to get an auditable, traceable, and verifiable method to monitor the progress, and is not subjective to what the engineer wants you to believe, or what he's hoping to be able to recover later. It says at this given moment, given the framework we are measuring the progress with, this is it, and this is why it is it. You have a traceability of it. You have documents that prove that progress.
So, I mentioned that you've implemented Wrench in many different customers or many different companies that you've worked at and on many different projects. So I mean, you've been using Wrench for how many years now?
Oh, I think we started, what was it, 2000, something around that, yeah?
2006 or so, 2007.
Wow, okay. And so you're telling me that all that time, that's 15 years, you haven't found anything better?
Well, I've been open-minded, and I've been looking at different systems, and oddly enough, without making names of competitors, some of them try to copy what Wrench was doing. Once we said, oh, but can you do this, can you do that, and they couldn't, they tried to copy. So I take a little bit of pride in saying that I feel like I helped Wrench develop to what it is today. When we started, we were looking just at a system that will be permitting us to be paperless in the office. The flow of documents will not be through paper, and which will get lost, and then in develop into a progress monitoring system, and then in develop into identifying the causes of the delay, and so on and so forth. And today is a fully integrated project management system, which I think facilitates the life of a project manager and project engineer. Especially in my case, when I was managing an office which was doing 20-25 projects at the same time, I had a screen, a dashboard on my computer, which I would turn on in the morning, and I would see which projects needed my intervention.
Interesting.
And I would click that project, and then a couple of clicks later, I knew exactly who I had to call to make the things moving. And my engineers didn't like it, and a lot of times they saw my number and they already gave me the answer before I asked the question. So
well, I mean, it's interesting that now that it's your decision as to what system you use, you've obviously chosen Wrench, but you must have found yourself in many different situations where you're having to convince either customers or the CEOs that you were working for at the time, and the technical people that you're working for at the time, that Wrench was an optimal choice for them. What is it that's been the hardest thing about convincing people to let you do what you wanted to do, which was implement Wrench?
So I quickly found out that the best approach was not to mention I want to implement Wrench. The best approach was I want to implement a system that does this. Okay, I want a system that can track the progress of documents. Okay, that can actually send the document from the originator to the checker and so on and so forth, and monitor the progress. And a system that helps me identify where the delays are. A system that helps me record my various elements of the project, risk, action list, and so on and so forth. And I gave some examples, and I used a lot of Excel spreadsheets to give that one. And they say, yeah, but this system doesn't exist. And then I would say, no, it does exist. I've used it before. It's this one. And that's how most of the times.
That's very tricky. Well, I mean, you and I, Romulo, probably
say I want to implement this system, and everybody starts saying, oh, how much does it cost? Where is the you get a lot of pushbacks.
Right. Well, I mean, you and I have similar histories in terms of when we discovered Wrench. It was probably around the same time. You and I are probably the first customers Wrench had in North America, because we were both working for different engineering companies at the time. But I discovered Wrench, or discovered it's being used when I was touring engineering and construction companies in India. So for us, we were amazed to find such a system that obviously met a lot of our needs even at that time. But what do you say when someone once they learn that Wrench was developed in India, for instance? I mean, there's such prejudice in our industry that this type of software should originate from North America or Europe and when you find out that that's been the history, and that Wrench is comparatively small, a smaller company when you compare it to the large, giant, publicly traded companies that are marketing this type of software. How do you have that discussion with people?
So it's interesting that you found out that in India, and I think there is a very good reason for that. The reason is in India you have a higher turnover of engineers per company than you used to have in the US until a few years ago. Now the turnover in the US is also high, but for many years in the US you had the same engineers who started with that company and retired with that company. It's changing now. They go from project to project, but they're trying to bring the team together. In India there is a much higher turnover, and my experience in the Middle East is the same. Every 3-4 months, 6 months, you have a turnover of engineers because they move on. They're all expatriates. They come and go, and you don't need to create your knowledge base. You cannot rely on people. You need a system to create the knowledge base. You need a system to guide the people on how you want work to be done, on your whatever company name way of doing the job, right? So Wrench provides that, and that's why I think it developed in India. How you convince people that a company from India is the right solution for a US company, it's a different, much more difficult discussion to have. The most objections I have is, it's a private company, it's a small company, they will disappear, we will have a system we cannot use, and so on and so forth. There isn't a real answer to that, and I think the only way you overcome that is just because it's a better system and people who understand and are open to the solution rather than who provides the solution will understand that. Some don't, and there's nothing you can do.